blew it, right? It doesn't sound fair. It doesn't sound like a great God. So if we're all alone in the universe, then maybe it's essentially impossible for all world religions to have a correct interpretation of reality. This is logic. This is basic logic. Okay? There are over 1,200 different types of religion in the world. Okay? It's impossible for every one of those religious views to describe reality exactly as it is. It's impossible. Just based on some religions believing there are many gods and some religions believing there is only one God. That alone makes it impossible. So we can't just say, oh, everybody's right. Group hug, right? We can't do that. Logic doesn't allow for that. And I don't mean to appear cold and analytic, but if we're going to have a debate tonight with open dialogue, we have to play by the rules. And the rules of logic say, no, it's impossible for all world religions to correctly interpret reality. However, it is quite possible for all world religions to be wrong. Okay? That is a possibility. Joe was saying if we don't have a God in which to base rationality, what we have is basically human-based values. What is wrong with human-based values? My whole life is based on human-based values, and when we sit down, Michael and Joe and I, and we discuss what's valuable in your life, I don't think we would find it unusual that our values are quite similar and that we will overlap in the things we find valuable in life. I just find them valuable without a God, that's all. You gentlemen have varying beliefs. You have a more Protestant concept of a God, and you have more Catholic concept of a God. But many of the values in religion, and don't think I'm down on religion. Religion has done a lot of good in the world. There's no question about it. And has promoted a lot of harmony in the world. But that's because the people inherently are good. And it's really the people that are good. I'm not sure if it's the religion. It gives them something to care for, and it gives them a reason to be good. But I think those people are generally going to be good people anyhow. And it's only a few of the members of certain religions around the world that give everyone else a bad name, and that's unfortunate. And those are the ones we obviously have to stand up to and say, no, once your beliefs generate harm to others, I can't buy into tolerating your religion anymore. I'm going to stand up to you, and I'm going to say, no, I'm not accepting this. You have every right to believe what you want to believe. But once it starts to generate harm to humanity, other species on this planet, somebody has to step up and say, wait a minute, have you thought this through carefully? Because what you're doing is harming others. So I have no problem whatsoever with religious belief. My extended family are Roman Catholic. When they come over to my house for Sunday dinner,
I welcome them to say grace. I mean, I have no problem with that. It doesn't offend me. My sister's not particularly thrilled that there's a portrait of Henry Morgenthaler on the wall. But other than that, Henry supporters. So we get along, and we get along with this kind of plurality of views. Now, I think it's epistemically responsible to do the right thing, to basically to believe in certain things. In the case of
being intended or not, I suspend judgment. I just think that's the epistemically responsible thing to do. I can't make any determination one way or the other, so I'm just going to suspend judgment. You don't have to do that. If you think that sounds like a good idea and you want to do that, that's fine. But I'm not going to tell you, this is what I believe it or get out kind of thing. That's entirely up to you. That's your call. Okay? Same with religious belief. The majority of religious beliefs, of course, are based on faith. They're not based on knowledge. As much as Joe would like to say, and as much as Michael would like to say, I know God exists, they can't say that. They can say, I believe very strongly in my faith, right? I have faith in my God. But they can't say, I know God exists like I know I am now existing. They can say they feel it in their heart, or Jesus speaks to them, or whatever. They can say all that, but right, why can't I feel it, right? So, and I would like to be able to be certain that there is a particular God. I think that would be an interesting world if we all knew for sure that a particular type of God existed. I mean, everybody on this planet had unequivocal evidence that God existed. What a different world that would be, right? Because then we would have just one particular book, there's the rules, this is what the guy up in the sky told us to do, so this is what we do, and that's all there is to it. But there isn't. There is no particular book of truth. There are many books that claim to have the truth, but there are so many different ones. How on this planet are we going to be able to determine which one of them is actually the truth? And we can't. So, many people believe faith is very powerful. It's a motivator. It can move mountains, right? But it doesn't move mountains, right? Science, technology, heavy machinery, and explosives do. That's what moves mountains. If you want the mountain moved, you roll up your sleeves and you get to work, right? Now, there are various tensions, obviously, with religious belief. And some of you who are theistic, who believe in a particular type of God, may at some point in your lives face what's known as a religious tension or a crisis of faith, where something happens to you where you're going to try to justify it in some way. In other words, how could a God allow this to happen? And some of you will use your faith to see you through difficult times. And that can be a benefit, right? It's almost like metaphysical Prozac, right? It's kind of like, it's all right. I'll pop a Bible pill or a Quran pill or a Upanishads pill, and I'm feeling pretty good, you know? And if it helps you, and it makes you a better person, and you don't break into my house to steal my TV to support your crack habit, I'm happy. I'm really, really happy. You know, that faith that you have is making you a good citizen, that we can get